High Counselor Vexthor of the Galactic Concordat stared at the holographic display with his 4 eyes narrowed in contempt. The primitive signals from Earth's communication networks flickered before him, showing their quaint attempts at space exploration and early AI development. His scaled fingers drummed against the crystalline desk as he prepared another dismissive report about humanity's progress. Such a waste of observation resources, he muttered to his assistant, a tall avian being named Curie. 300 years we've watched them fumble with basic quantum mechanics, and they still haven't even figured out unified field theory. Curie bobbed her feathered head in agreement, though something about the human broadcasts troubled her. High Counselor, have you noticed how precise their failures are? Almost as if they're exactly as primitive as we expect them to be. A new voice interrupted. Both aliens turned to find Dr. Sarah Chin standing in the doorway of the observation chamber, her quantum diplomat badge glowing softly against her simple black uniform. How did you? Vexthor began, his defensive scales rising in alarm. No human should have been able to access the Concordat's hidden observation post on Mars. Get past your security. Sarah smiled. We walked right through it. Just like we've been walking through every barrier you've placed before us for the past century. The air around her seemed to shimmer, and suddenly the room was filled with more humans, each appearing as if they had always been there. Their quantum diplomat badges pulsed with a light that seemed to bend reality itself. Impossible, Vexthor whispered. Our sensors would have detected. Your sensors detect what we want them to detect, Sarah explained calmly. Just like your observation posts see what we want them to see. Did you really think humanity would develop technology in such a predictable, linear fashion? Curie's feathers ruffled in sudden understanding. The broadcasts. They're all fake. Not fake, carefully curated. Sarah walked to the holographic display, waving her hand through the false images of human development. We discovered quantum consciousness manipulation 50 years ago. It changed everything. Our understanding of reality, our physical capabilities, our very way of thinking. But we also discovered something troubling in the quantum field. Your observation posts, your judgments, your interventions with other species. Vexthor stood, his impressive height meant to intimidate. The Concordat guides developing species for their own protection. Without our oversight. Without your oversight, species develop naturally, Sarah interrupted. They find their own paths, their own solutions. But you've been playing gardener to the galaxy, pruning away any growth you don't approve of. We decided to show you exactly what you wanted to see while we prepared humanity for what comes next. The human delegates moved with impossible grace, their forms seemingly in multiple places at once, a side effect of their quantum consciousness technology that allowed them to exist in probability clouds rather than fixed points in space-time. What comes next? Curie asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. The end of the Concordat's monopoly on species development. Sarah's voice was firm but not unkind. As we speak, human quantum diplomats are appearing in every major Concordat observation post across the galaxy. Your carefully maintained garden is about to become a wilderness again, but one where species can truly grow. Vexthor reached for his emergency beacon, but his hand passed right through it. What? Reality is no longer quite what you think it is, Sarah explained. Quantum consciousness allows us to perceive and manipulate the probability fields that make up what you call reality. Your technology, impressive as it is still bound by classical physics. We've moved beyond that. Outside the observation post's windows, the false image of a primitive Mars flickered and died, revealing massive quantum engineering complexes that had been there all along. Ships that seemed to exist in multiple states at once moved through the skies, their forms challenging everything the Concordat thought they knew about physics and consciousness. Why reveal yourselves now? Curie asked, her scientific mind already trying to understand the implications. Because humanity is ready to take its place in the galaxy, not as another garden species, but as caretakers of true growth and development. We're here to ensure that every species has the chance to find their own path to the quantum realm, free from artificial limitations. Vexthor slumped in his chair, understanding that everything he had believed about species development, about the Concordat's role, about reality itself, had been based on incomplete information. "What do you want from us?" Sarah's expression softened. "We want you to watch, learn, and understand. The age of controlled development is over. The age of quantum consciousness is beginning. Humanity will ensure that every species has the chance to reach their full potential, whatever that potential might be." As if to emphasize her point, the quantum diplomats began to phase out of normal spacetime, their forms becoming probability clouds before vanishing entirely. Only Sarah remained, her badge pulsing with the rhythm of quantum reality itself. "Welcome to the true nature of the cosmos," she said simply. "Try to keep up." The news spread through the Concordat's communication networks like a quantum wave collapse. Humanity had not only broken free of their surveillance, they had been operating beyond classical physics for decades. Emergency sessions were called across 1,000 worlds as the implications became clear. Admiral Zena Rex of the Concordat Defense Fleet stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Eternal Order, watching as her sensors tried and failed to maintain a lock on the human vessels surrounding her fleet. The quantum ships seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, making traditional targeting impossible. "They're requesting communication again." "Admiral," her second-in-command reported, mandibles clicking nervously. Zena straightened her ceremonial armor. She had been tasked with containing the human situation until the Concordat could develop countermeasures. So far, that task had proved impossible. "Put them through." The holographic display activated, showing not one but several overlapping images of Fleet Commander James Rodriguez, each representing a different quantum state of his existence. The effect was deliberately disorienting. Admiral Rex, all versions of Rodriguez spoke simultaneously, their voices creating a harmony of quantum possibilities. "Your fleet has been sitting here for 3 days. Surely you've realized by now that traditional military power is meaningless against quantum consciousness." "The Concordat will not allow," Zena began, but Rodriguez's quantum chorus interrupted her. "The Concordat is no longer in a position to allow or disallow anything. Look." The space around Zena's fleet rippled as reality itself seemed to shift. Suddenly, they were no longer in the Sol system. Instead, her fleet floated near the Concordat's capital world, or rather, thousands of possible versions of the capital world, each showing a different state of development. "This is what your interference has done," Rodriguez explained. "Each of these quantum realities represents a path the Concordat's homeworld might have taken without your species' obsession with control. Some are more advanced than your current state. Some discovered different technologies entirely. All of them are equally valid." Zena's tactical mind raced as she tried to understand the strategic implications. "You could use this power to destroy us completely. Rewrite our history. Why haven't you?" The quantum versions of Rodriguez aligned briefly into a single image. "Because humanity remembers what it's like to struggle, to fail, to find our own way forward. We're not here to destroy the Concordat, Admiral. We're here to free it, just as we're freeing every species under your control." Warning signals blared across Zena's bridge as her sensors detected massive quantum fluctuations across Concordat space. On thousands of worlds, human quantum diplomats were revealing themselves, showing countless species the true nature of reality and consciousness. "Your civilization's greatest mistake," Rodriguez continued, "was assuming that consciousness and technology would develop along predictable lines. You tried to force every species to follow the same path you did, but the quantum realm doesn't work that way. Consciousness, like quantum mechanics, follows all possible paths simultaneously." A new hologram appeared, showing Concordat observation posts across the galaxy. At each one, the carefully maintained illusion of control was breaking down as species after species discovered the quantum deception that had been played on them. "Your fleet has 2 choices, Admiral," Rodriguez's quantum chorus resonated through reality itself. You can accept that the age of classical physics and classical control is over, or you can fire on our ships and learn firsthand why quantum consciousness makes traditional warfare obsolete. Xena had not reached her position by being slow to adapt. She saw the truth in the quantum possibilities surrounding her fleet. The Concordat's power had always been based on information control and technological superiority. Both advantages had just been erased in a single moment. "Stand down all weapons," she ordered her fleet. Then, to Rodriguez, "The Concordat Defense Fleet requests guidance in understanding these new developments." The quantum versions of Rodriguez smiled in perfect synchronization. "Guidance, yes. Control, no. That's the difference humanity is bringing to the galaxy, Admiral. Every species, including yours, deserves the chance to explore quantum consciousness in their own way." As her fleet powered down their weapons, Xena watched in awe as reality itself seemed to expand around them. The quantum realm that humanity had discovered wasn't just a new technology. It was a fundamental shift in how consciousness interacted with reality. The implications would reshape every aspect of galactic civilization. "Welcome to quantum freedom," Rodriguez's voices echoed through possibility itself. "The real evolution of your species begins now." The Arcturian Trade Federation was the first to declare war on humanity. Their quantum probability scanners had detected the massive disturbances in reality itself, and their response was predictably aggressive. Their vast armada of biomechanical ships darkened the skies of 100 worlds as they prepared to contain the quantum contamination. Dr. Maya Patel stood in the quantum observation chamber of the Human Diplomatic Corps, watching the probability clouds shift and swirl around the approaching Arcturian fleet. Unlike the Concordat, the Arcturians weren't interested in control. They wanted elimination. "They're afraid," her colleague, Dr. Marcus Webb, existed in several quantum states as he analyzed the situation. "Their entire civilization is built on the exploitation of predictable cause and effect. Quantum consciousness threatens everything they've built." Maya nodded, her own consciousness spreading across multiple probability states to better understand the Arcturian tactics. "They don't realize that declaring war on quantum mechanics is like declaring war on gravity. It's not something you can fight. It's something you have to understand." The Arcturian fleet launched their first attack, sending reality-shredding weapons toward Earth. But the weapons passed through probability clouds where Earth might have been, never finding the actual quantum state of humanity's homeworld. The attack was simultaneously devastating and completely ineffective, a perfect demonstration of quantum uncertainty. "Send the message," Maya instructed the quantum communication network. Across every possible timeline, every potential reality, the words appeared in the minds of the Arcturian commanders. "Your weapons cannot harm what exists in all states simultaneously, but we can show you something far more dangerous than weapons: truth." With that, humanity activated their quantum revelation protocols. Every Arcturian ship suddenly existed in multiple states of technological development simultaneously. Crews found themselves operating vessels that were simultaneously primitive and advanced, functional and theoretical, existing and yet to be invented. The effect was catastrophic for the Arcturian military hierarchy. How could they maintain control when reality itself refused to remain fixed? Their carefully planned formations dissolved into quantum uncertainty as ships phased between states of existence. "They're experiencing quantum awakening," Marcus observed, his multiple states converging briefly. "Their consciousness is being forced to adapt to quantum reality. It's exactly what happened to humanity 50 years ago." Maya watched as the Arcturian fleet struggled with their new perception of reality. Some ships embraced the quantum state, their crews beginning to understand the true nature of consciousness. Others fought against it, their resistance only making the quantum effects more pronounced. Director Chen was right, Maya mused, remembering how Sarah Chen had predicted this response. Some species need to be pushed into quantum awareness. The Concordat suppressed it, but the Arcturians are actually helping us by fighting against it. The space around Earth rippled with quantum possibilities as more Arcturian ships arrived, each one immediately caught in the web of quantum consciousness. Their weapons, designed for classical physics, were worse than useless. They actually accelerated the quantum awakening of their own crews. Incoming transmission, Marcus announced, his quantum states aligning. The Arcturian High Command wants to negotiate. The holographic display showed Admiral Kextel of the Arcturian fleet, his crystalline form shifting between states of evolution as he struggled to maintain classical coherence. What have you done to us? We haven't done anything to you, Maya replied, her voice echoing through quantum possibility. We've simply shown you what you've always been, conscious beings existing in a quantum universe. Your species, like all others, has always had this potential. The Concordat suppressed it. We're just removing the suppression. Our empire, our trade networks. Kextal's form flickered between quantum states. Will adapt, Maya assured him. Humanity did. The quantum realm doesn't destroy commerce or civilization. It elevates it. Imagine trading not just in goods and services, but in quantum possibilities themselves. As if to demonstrate, she showed him a quantum projection of how Arcturian trade could evolve. Ships that could exist in multiple ports simultaneously, delivering cargo across all possible routes at once. Quantum consciousness that could perceive and manipulate market forces directly. The Arcturian fleet hung in space, caught between their instinct to fight and their growing awareness of quantum reality. Their weapons remained armed but unfired, existing in a superposition of war and peace. Your species has a choice, Maya told them. You can continue to fight against the fundamental nature of consciousness itself, or you can join humanity in exploring what quantum awareness really means. Either way, there's no going back to the simplified reality you once knew. The quantum ripples spread further across the galaxy as more species encountered humanity's revelation. Some, like the Arcturians, responded with violence only to find themselves awakened. Others embraced the change, their consciousness expanding into quantum possibility. The age of classical certainty was ending, replaced by something far more complex and beautiful, a galaxy where consciousness itself had broken free of its chains. The quantum awakening of the galaxy had unintended consequences. Not every species was ready for the sudden expansion of consciousness, and not every civilization survived the transition intact. Dr. Elena Santos stood before the Emergency Council of Quantum Affairs, her quantum states showing varying degrees of concern as she delivered her report. We're seeing fractures in some societies, her quantum chorus echoed through the probability field. The Mendaxians have split into quantum-aware and quantum-resistant factions. The Helios Collective is experiencing mass psychological trauma as their hive mind tries to process quantum consciousness. Even some human colonies are struggling with the implications. The council chamber existed in multiple probability states, each representing a different possible outcome of humanity's actions. In some states, the room was filled with hope and progress. In others, the weight of responsibility hung heavy in the quantum field. First speaker Michael Chung, his consciousness spread across multiple quantum states, addressed the council. We knew there would be casualties in this transition. The question before us now is, do we continue pushing for universal quantum awakening, or do we allow some species to remain in classical consciousness? That choice may no longer be ours to make. A new voice interrupted. Director Chen appeared in the chamber, her quantum states showing the wear of continuous probability navigation. The quantum field itself is changing. Classical consciousness is becoming unstable across all spectrums. She projected a quantum map of the galaxy, showing how the fabric of reality itself was shifting. Areas of classical physics were being naturally converted to quantum states as consciousness itself evolved beyond its old limitations. The universe, Chen explained, appears to have been waiting for a species to trigger this transition. Once we demonstrated that quantum consciousness was possible, it began happening naturally. We're not causing this change anymore. We're just managing its effects. The implications hit the Council like a quantum wave collapse. Humanity hadn't just changed the galaxy's political landscape, they had initiated a fundamental transformation of consciousness itself. "We're receiving reports from the Arcturian border sectors," Alina continued. "Their quantum-resistant ships are experiencing spontaneous probability shifts. Crews are awakening to quantum consciousness whether they want to or not. The effect appears to be spreading exponentially." The Council chamber shifted through various probability states as its occupants processed this information. In every state, the conclusion was the same. There was no going back. "What about the species that can't adapt?" asked Councillor Ahmed, his quantum states showing genuine concern. "The Helios Collective's hive mind is fracturing. The Mendaxian civil war is spreading across probability states. We have to take responsibility for what we've started." Director Chen's quantum states aligned briefly. "We already are. Human quantum guides are being deployed to affected regions. We're teaching species how to navigate their new consciousness, how to maintain coherence across probability states, how to exist in quantum reality without losing their essential nature." The quantum map showed these efforts in real time. Points of stability in a sea of probability, where human guidance was helping species transition safely into quantum awareness. But it also showed the dark spaces where civilizations struggled with the change. "The price of progress," Alina mused, her quantum states reflecting different aspects of the crisis, "isn't just measured in political upheaval or technological adaptation. We're asking species to fundamentally change how they perceive reality itself. Not everyone will survive that transition. But those who do," Chen added, "will be part of something greater than any of us imagined. The quantum realm isn't just a new frontier. It's the true state of consciousness that's been waiting to emerge since the beginning of time." The Council chamber resonated with quantum possibility as decisions were made across multiple probability states. Humanity had started this change, and now they had to see it through. Not as conquerors or controllers, but as guides helping the galaxy navigate its own evolution. "We need to establish quantum sanctuaries," Alina proposed, spaces where species can adapt at their own pace, protected from the full effects of probability shift. Not everyone needs to make this transition at once. The Council agreed across all quantum states. Humanity's role was changing from revelator to protector, helping the galaxy manage its own awakening. The price of progress was high, but the alternative, allowing consciousness to remain forever limited, was no longer possible. As the Council session existed across multiple probability states, one truth became clear. The galaxy's quantum awakening had taken on a life of its own. Humanity's task now was not to control it, but to ensure that as many species as possible survive the greatest transformation in cosmic history. 1 year after humanity revealed the quantum nature of consciousness to the galaxy, the transformation was nearly complete. The last holdouts of classical reality were fading, replaced by a new understanding of existence itself. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in quantum space, her consciousness spread across multiple probability states as she observed the final phase of the galaxy's awakening. The former Concordat worlds had become quantum learning centers, their ancient observation posts now serving as transition spaces for newly awakening species. The Arcturian Trade Federation had evolved into something entirely new. A quantum commerce network that traded in possibilities rather than certainties. Even the fractured Helios Collective had found a way to exist as a quantum hive mind, their consciousness spanning multiple realities simultaneously. The final reports are in. Maya Patel's quantum states aligned briefly beside Chen. 98% of known spacefaring species have successfully transitioned to quantum consciousness. The remaining 2% are being maintained in quantum sanctuaries until they're ready. Chen watched the probability clouds swirl around them, showing infinite possibilities of what the galaxy could become, and humanity. "How are we handling our role as the guardians of this transition?" "Better than expected," Maya replied, her forms shifting through quantum states. "The responsibility has changed us too. We're not just teachers anymore. We're learning new aspects of quantum consciousness from every species we help. The quantum realm around them pulsed with activity as civilizations explored their new existence. Ships no longer needed to travel through space. They simply existed at their destinations, their quantum states flowing through probability itself. Communication wasn't limited by light speed or distance. Consciousness connected directly across the quantum field. High Counselor Vexthor is requesting your presence, Maya announced. The former Concordat leadership wants to formally acknowledge their transition. Chen shifted her consciousness to the quantum space where the former High Counselor waited. His four eyes now perceived multiple realities simultaneously, his scaled form existing in various states of evolution. The being who had once dismissed humanity as primitive now radiated quantum awareness. Director Chen, Vexthor's quantum chorus greeted her. We were wrong about so much. The Concordat thought we were protecting species from dangerous development, but we were really protecting ourselves from the truth about consciousness itself. Understanding is the first step toward growth, Chen replied, her quantum states showing various aspects of wisdom. The Concordat's methods were flawed, but your intention, to help species develop safely, wasn't wrong. That's why humanity chose to guide rather than simply reveal. Around them, the quantum fabric of reality rippled with possibility. The galaxy was entering a new age, one where consciousness itself had broken free of its classical limitations. Species that had once fought over territory now explored infinite quantum spaces together. Ancient enemies found themselves connected through the quantum field, their conflicts transformed by shared awareness. There are still challenges, Vexthor observed, his quantum states showing concern. Some species missed the simplicity of classical existence. They find quantum consciousness overwhelming. That's why we maintain the sanctuaries, Chen explained. Evolution isn't about forcing change. It's about being ready for it. Humanity learned that lesson from our own quantum awakening. Every species must find their own way to embrace quantum reality. The quantum space shifted, showing them glimpses of the galaxy's future possibilities. In some states, civilization had evolved beyond physical form entirely, existing as pure quantum consciousness. In others, species had found ways to blend classical and quantum existence, creating new forms of life and society. The question that remains, Maya interjected, her quantum states aligning with the discussion, is what comes next. We've guided the galaxy through its quantum awakening, but this is just the beginning. Chen's consciousness expanded through probability space, touching the quantum fields that connected all living things. Next, we explore together. Humanity's role was never to lead the galaxy. It was to free consciousness itself. What happens now is up to all of us. As if in response, the quantum realm pulsed with new possibility. Species that had once been limited by physical laws now shaped reality itself. The galaxy was no longer just a collection of worlds and civilizations. It had become a living quantum network of conscious beings, each contributing to the infinite dance of probability and possibility. A new dawn, Vexthor mused, his quantum chorus resonating with understanding. Not just for individual species, but for consciousness itself. The quantum deception is over, Chen agreed, her forms shifting through probability space. But the true quantum evolution, the evolution of consciousness throughout the galaxy, is just beginning. Around them, the quantum fabric of reality continued to pulse with infinite possibility, as countless species explored their new existence. The age of classical limitations had ended, replaced by something far more profound. A galaxy where consciousness itself had finally awakened to its true quantum nature.